What are you talking about? That's the name of our first round. We've teamed up with a leading polling organisation and they've asked the British nation what stories they've been discussing this week. It's our panellists' job to guess the British public's top 5 most popular talking points. Jason and your team, you're up first. What have the nation been talking about this week?
Is it...
Paris.
Paris? Yeah, Paris Hilton. Paris was put in jail for drink driving. Then she was released after 3 days. And then she got put back in jail again when the judge found out that she got out. So she's not best pleased. She's been on hunger strike as well for 25 years. Well,
she's taking that seriously.
She is.
She got out for psychological reasons, didn't she?
Yeah, I
Don't
think...
let her out and then they put her back.
I think she got out of prison, she managed to do it because she was depressed.
Yeah.
Which is extraordinary, because no one's elated.
It's incredible, actually. There's nobody who feels sorry for her, do they?
Is that how you get out of prison, if you're depressed?
Yeah. If you don't like it, they go, oh, come on then.
With the drink driving thing, she claimed she didn't know she was banned from driving because someone else opens her post. She's too lazy to look at it herself.
I got pulled up for speeding, and he thought I'd stolen the car because I had a northern accent. And he asked me when I'd bought the car, I told him I didn't know. He asked me when I'd passed my test, I told him I didn't know. He asked me what the insurance cost, I said I don't know. And to my eternal shame, I said, I have somebody who does that for me.
You've changed, Johnny.
I know.
Have you got a PA, Johnny?
She's more of a best friend that I pay to run my life. And she dresses me.
I don't think of anything worse than being your PA. 2 o'clock in the morning. I want a wagon wheel! Like, oh,
That's the Apprentice show I want to see. Come and work for Johnny Vegas. They all left on the first day.
Every morning, 4 o'clock, she gets a call. I've started another fire.
Shall we have a look and see whether Paris Hilton is one of the most talked about things this week? I have a feeling she might be. Yes, indeed. She's the most talked about thing this week. This is the story that Paris Hilton has been sent to jail. Paris is now on suicide watch, and Bill Oddie will be hosting. Fantastic. Sean, Katie, Vic, what else have the nation been talking about this week?
Is it the Formula 1 kid, the super-duper new Formula 1, British Formula 1?
Oh, I heard about him, yeah.
Lewis Hamilton, and he's won a Grand Prix and he's very fast. He's the new Michael Schumacher.
People are saying he could be the new Tim Henman if there's an accident. He never wins anything ever again. He's only 22, it's amazing. You watch Formula 1, don't you?
no, not really.
OK,
no.
I'm glad I asked.
I think it's weird, people who watch Formula 1. It's all right on the telly, but those people who spend loads of money to go to Monaco and watch it, just to stand there, hundreds of quid, just to go... Well, he was good, wasn't he? Hear that one. He was proper fast. I don't understand it. I don't know why you'd bother going.
Well, I quite like the fact that it's boring. A lot of people complain about Formula 1, but I think it's one of its major pluses, is the fact it's really boring. Because nothing can spoil it. You can do drilling, hoovering, you can go up, have a sleep, come back, you're still in the lead. You don't even need to watch the end. You just look at the podium, yeah, he won. Perfect, it's the most boring sport.
Let's have a look and see whether Lewis Hamilton, a British sporting hero, is one of the most talked about things this week.
Hey, number 2.
Yes, Lewis Hamilton has won his first Grand Prix, making him the youngest ever leader of the Formula 1 Championship. It's a dangerous sport. Lewis stared death in the face before realising it was Bernie Ecclestone handing him a trophy. Jason, what else have the world been talking about this week?
Is it kids? No, every day in the paper for like last week there's been a story about kids not being hard enough, or some bloke from ROSPA, the Royal Society of Prevention of Accidents, has said that kids should climb trees so that they break their wrist. I mean, he's in the wrong job, let's be honest. Right?
Should work for the Royal Society for the promotion of accidents.
I had a mate when I was at school, not showing off, and he was proper hard, always climbing trees and eating berries and stuff and chasing worms. And
yeah, proper hard.
He was brilliant, you know what I mean? And he's dead now. But what 13 years, brilliant. You had a right laugh.
What we used to do is, which I think's fine, is get a scaffold pole and fire fireworks at each other. It was great.
But you were brought up in Basra, right? If you're watching, don't try that at home. Do it outside.
When I was a lad, there was a gang. 'Cause I lived in a little place in Manchester called Chorlton, and there was a gang called the Chorlton Bad Boy Club, and they used to graffiti the initials all over the place. CBBC was here. You got a tattoo of John Craven.
You've got kids, haven't you?
Yeah, I was at my daughter's 3rd birthday yesterday.
You went to that, that's nice, yeah. Well done.
Just remember. But I think now a bit of, you know, rough and tumble, a few bashes.
So you chuck them out of trees and...
No, but a few bashes. My daughter was in a full body plaster cast quite recently for 3 months.
What the fucking hell did you do to her?
Well, whatever her daughter did, she won't be doing it again.
It was really hard carrying her around because she was solid.
I would have thought that'd be easier.
Like a Solvite baby.
It wasn't anything too serious, was it?
Yeah, her leg.
Anything too serious? She's a full body cast, man.
Vic, you're a father.
I would always let them injure themselves and, in fact, encourage it. Alice, who's the eldest, I would encourage her to run into walls and not get any sympathy. So she knew what was coming. And with Louis, he was given a revolver.
I often push a pub door open and go, "You soft bastard," and then just leave my son stood there in the street. Let him face the music.
How old's your boy again?
4.
Shall we see if molly coddling our children is up there? Yes, it is. Yes, this is the story that we're wrapping our kids in cotton wool. They're spending too much time stressed about exams and not enough playing outside. Of course, exams are a lot easier than they used to be. Apart from history, that's got harder. More things have happened. Although, thanks to rising sea levels, geography is getting much easier. Sean's team, what else have the nation been talking about this week?
Well, I think it's your show, isn't it? The Apprentice. They've been talking about that a lot. Very popular, wasn't it? You're all over the papers, aren't you?
A little bit.
It's like a rash.
Do you think the best man won?
I'm delighted that Simon won, and I'm delighted that Christina didn't.
Ooh. Who was your favourite? Who do you like the most?
I probably like Trey the most. Yeah.
Trey is amazing.
Yeah, oh,
I'm a bullshitter. I'm a bullshitter, I bullshit.
Who do
I'm
you
a
mean?
bullshitter. I do nothing but bullshit. I'm a bullshitter. He's an incredible character. He seemed to think bullshitting was the best possible thing in a businessman.
Doesn't Alan Sugar say, I don't like liars, cheats, bullshitters and arse-lickers? You can't help feeling the last two, he's really upped the ante there, hasn't he? Liars, cheats, he goes, bullshitters, arse-lickers. I wonder if they stopped him when he went, suckers, mother gypsies, the poor, eagles. And he really gets carried away. It's a very mainstream show.
Who do you think should have won, Danny?
I think Christina should have won, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, she had a dodgy set of teeth on her, but I think she was she was more, you know, the other geezer irritated me. I just couldn't get my nut round him, but...
We're going to have subtitles for this, aren't we?
I've not actually seen it, but I did see you in the papers. Behind a gate.
Yes.
If you're going to have sex in a field,
Yeah.
don't do it by a gate.
Where's better, though?
Well, behind the bush.
You've sort of come out of The Apprentice as the biggest star.
Are you going to develop a show now like Badger did? Hopkins Happy Home Bust-Ups. Hello, I'm in Cleethorpes with Jeff. He runs a small printing company, so I'm going to shag him. Well, the thing is, Jeff, once you come into the wife and kids, we can focus on output.
Well, that is burnt on my retina.
I bet this is quite strange for you, Katie. It's like you're trapped in a rural petrol station. Blokes filling up your car going, yeah, I bet you give it a...
Let's see if The Apprentice is one of the most talked about things this week. Yes, it is. The best thing Alan Sugar said this year was, I've got a gut feeling in my stomach. That kind of use of the English language makes me want to punch his face in the face. You've got one more to get your fingers on buzzers. Jason.
It's Prince Harry.
Prince Harry, tell me more.
Prince Harry in trouble because his lads are in Iraq and Afghanistan and whatnot, doing a war.
Doing a war?
Doing a war. Yeah, and...
How long have you been sat next to Danny
I'm
Dyer?
catching it, it's amazing.
They're off there doing a war.
Get all warmed up.
And he was in Canada at some sort of strip club getting boobs in his face.
I love him, that Harry. He's a raving lunatic. Out of his nut, loads of birds around, a big joint hanging out of his mouth.
Dressed as a Nazi.
Legend.
He's well up for it.
My favourite bit was he was talking to a barmaid and he didn't want to reveal his true identity. So when she said, "What's your name?" he went, "Gary." That was the best he could come up with. Prince Gary.
Danny, do you think he should have gone to Iraq?
Yeah, I think he should have got involved, definitely.
Should have got involved.
Do you not worry about him being out there, like, getting shot at and... Like, he can't camouflage, can he? Do you know what I mean? You imagine two Iraqi soldiers. Did you just see that tree move? What, the one with ginger hair? You know what I mean?
Let's have a look and see whether Prince Harry is up there. Yes, this is the story that Prince Harry visited a strip club in Canada whilst his colleagues were fighting in Iraq. A strip club is very much like Iraq. Young men getting slaughtered, bazookas everywhere, weapons going off. It's more expensive than you think when you go in. Muslims don't like it. I blame Bush. Well, at the end of that round, I can tell you that Sean, Vic and Katie have 2 points, Jason, Johnny and Danny have 3 points. Jason, your team to go first.
Is it Wag Weddings? Wag Weddings? That happened at weekend?
4 footballers got married in, was it 48 hours?
That's right, yeah.
And they didn't get married to each other. It wasn't civil partnerships. They married ladies.
You sound a little bit disappointed.
Which footballers were they then that got married?
OK. There were
Take
4.
me through them.
John Terry.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
one.
Who
Michael
does he play
Carrick.
for?
John Terry plays for
Chelsea.
Chelsea. He's the Chelsea captain. He also plays for England.
Peter Shilton.
Did they all get married in church?
I don't know if they got married in a church. I didn't go. I
I
don't
see.
know.
Oh, OK. Well, you just seem to be an expert on this.
All
when
right,
you
I'm trying to
started.
go through.
Oh, OK. I thought they got married. I didn't know it. I just thought on the way we'd
John
fill in a
Terry,
picture for...
Michael
Yes.
Carrick, is that
Yeah.
right?
That's right, yeah.
One of
why
the
not?
Neville brothers.
Gary Neville.
Right.
And another man.
I saw the pictures in the magazine. They all look beautiful. Some of the wags were orange with envy.
Not green, orange. It was very lavish. John Terry actually had Lionel Richie play at his wedding.
I actually, for my girlfriend's party last year, I hired a Lionel Richie lookalike.
You haven't got a girlfriend.
What's
You haven't got a girlfriend. How have you got a girlfriend? You're about 12.
We couldn't get Del Boy because he wouldn't come down from Derby on the train.
It's a very glamorous life you lead, isn't it, Reece?
What's Del Boy going to do? I mean, if you get Lionel Richie down, of course he's going to look alike. He sings a bit of a song.
Fall through the bar.
He was going to fall through the bar.
Yeah.
What sort of list is this that you go, right, Del Boy can't make it? Lionel Richie, anyone? Second place. At Gary Neville's wedding, I was proofreading. I wasn't proofreading it, that's the wrong phrase. I was going through OK magazine. Proofreading it, oh, that's right, that's what I was doing. And I was going... I was going through one of the magazines. It said, oh, Gary Neville's dad was there. Neville. I was like, it must have been a mistake. But I had a look, and he's really called Neville.
Do you think people say to him, do you mind if I call you Neville?
John Terry had pie and mash at his...
That's right, yeah, one of them had chicken and chips, and the other one had sausage and mash. They might as well have had it at Heston Services.
You wear tops like that on Blue Peter?
Actually, I have worn this on Blue Peter.
I may start tuning in.
John Terry had the best one because afterwards in the courtyard he had the Philharmonic Orchestra doing the theme from Gladiator. I thought, I want to be there, just, can you feel the power of the gladiators? Water! Ah, brilliant. Awooga!
Well, let's have a look and see whether the Wag Weddings is one of the most talked about things this week.
Ooh, number 4.
Yes, 4 Premiership footballers got married last weekend. The vicar almost stopped one of the ceremonies when the congregation started chanting, "Who's the bastard in the black?" Sean, Connie, Reece, what else have the nation been talking about this week?
I think definitely the big furore over Salman Rushdie being given a knighthood. which has caused quite a lot of consternation all over the world. And a lot of people are very upset, particularly in Pakistan. They're very upset about it, very annoyed. They've been burning effigies of him, the Queen, basically anything they can make out of a few old socks and jumpers and newspapers.
What's about burning things all the time? Why can't I do something else rather than burn?
Anyway, so they've...
Where do they get them from? Is there an effigy shop where they go, hello, effigies? Who would you like? Salman Rushdie. We're all out of Salman Rushdie. We've got a Jilly Cooper? No? OK.
Isn't it nice to know that Pakistan pays attention to the honours list? Nobody cares at all over here. At last, Salman Rushdie's in a place to do something about it, because let's face it, that's what knights are for. They should get together, all the knights, the land. Sir Alan Sugar, Sir Paul McCartney, get on their steeds and get out there and fight with Sir Salman. That's what we want to see, isn't it?
I don't think I'd want to see Elton John versus the Taliban.
When you book Griff Rhys-Jones, you don't often assume he's going to call for a holy war, but...
What do we think about the other honours? Ian Botham, who from the shredded wheat adverts. And the beef adverts.
Yeah.
You can't do both! Either good food or bad food, Ian.
Poor old Botham. He only didn't get his knighthood earlier on because he smoked marijuana. But it didn't seem to stop Paul McCartney. He was arrested trying to smuggle hash into Japan one day.
And Lennon got one, but he refused it.
Lennon got one, but he sent it back years later, didn't he?
And so did that bloke this week.
A bloke this week from Agent Provocateur.
Yeah, him.
He makes fancy pants for the ladies.
Yeah.
And he got given an MBE, and he said, no, I don't want it.
Sounds like he got his knickers in a twist.
We keep talking about marijuana and pants and stuff, and I'm like, I can't move it. Yeah, I can't.
You can't talk about those?
Not really.
You just said it, marijuana and pants.
Edit this bit out.
You'll just edit it. It'll just be, this is going to be half an hour of you going, marijuana and pants.
Loop it.
Hang on, just 1 second. What are the things you like, Connie?
Nobody around this table who has an honour, I don't think. Is
Jimmy's
there,
a
apart
dame.
from the goal? Are you a dame?
It was an accident. I used to work in a factory.
I'd love to see you in a factory. Oh, the boss's son's in.
Hello, what happens here?
Those drills are very big.
Well, let's have a look and see whether the Queen's birthday honours is one of the most talked about things this week. Yes, it is the second most talked about thing. Yes, this week the Queen announced her birthday honours list. Beefy Botham has been knighted. Surely now he'll be known as Sir Loin. Ian Botham and Alan Lamb famously starred in a series of British meat adverts, much to the annoyance of Somerset all-rounder Jeff Chicken. Right, Jason, your team, what else have the nation been talking about this week?
Come on,
Come on,
Come on, Jason, have a guess.
Speak for it.
Do you know what this is? This is when double acts haven't got their mates. That's what this is. That's what's happened there. Like the prisons are full.
Oh.
Have you not heard this?
Controversial.
It is a bit controversial, a little bit of news. So the story is that they're going to release a load of prisoners now because they're full.
Early.
They're going to release them early.
They're releasing 25,000, aren't they? I assume not all at once. It's like the start of the marathon. It all comes steaming out of the prison. All straight to a bus stop. Some of them dressed as rhinos, hopefully, just for the comic.
They have said it's only going to be for petty crimes like burglary and drug dealing, which I think is a good thing because the car boot sale near me is boring at the moment.
I'll tell you what my biggest fear is going to prison. Being locked up with 4 burly, tattooed men.
Your worst fear, or most of your video collection.
Thinking about it.
OK, let's have a look and see whether Prisons is up there. Yes, this is the story that prisoners are to be released early because of overcrowding. To stay in police cells, it costs £1,800 per prisoner per night. That seems like a lot of money, but it includes dinner, breakfast and tickets to a West End show. Sean, Connie and Reece, what have the nation be talking about?
Is it Bernard Manning has died?
Oh, yeah.
Bernard Manning, the famous comedian.
The headline in one of the tabs was Racist in Peace.
Racist in Peace?
It was on The Sun, wasn't it?
Can you believe that's someone's job to write those shit headlines? So some bloke comes in and goes, racist in peace, see you tomorrow. All right. That's it, that's his job. I met Bernard Manning once. I was doing a gig when I first started out. I was on stage and I did some joke about poo or wee. And when I got off stage, Bernard Manning was at the bar And he came over to me and he said, you could be quite funny, you son. He's got something wrong with his throat, right? He says,
Not anymore, he hasn't.
Not anymore. He says, you could be quite funny, you son. I said, oh, thanks very much, Mr. Manning. He said, just a little tip for you. Don't talk about wee and poo on stage. You know, people find it offensive.
You've been told you're offensive by Bernard Manning.
When I found out he was dead, I went, yay! Woo! Woo! Like that. Mainly because I think he'd make a brilliant ghost. You're sitting having your dinner here, you go,
Little Jewish fella walked into a pub. My wife is so fat.
he'd be a fantastic ghost.
Why do you think his wife really was fat and he was just stating a fact?
Yeah. But he probably wouldn't have done it as a joke then, would he? No. My wife is so fat she hates herself and sits in her room crying all day long.
Connie, any thoughts on Bernard Manning?
Not a fan, personally.
Has he got a Blue Peter badge? Manning. He's raised a lot of money for charity. I wondered if there was some sort of way... Well, he has raised a lot of money for charity, but he was a racist, so send him a black one for a laugh.
Let's see if Bernard Manning is up there. Well, he's definitely not. He'll be in hell. Let's see if he's one of the most talked about things this week. Yes, he is the most talked about thing this week. Bernard Manning died this week. It was a black day for comedy, which he wouldn't have approved of. He'll be remembered as racist, sexist and homophobic. Although we must not forget, he was also a big fat fatty. Right, one more thing to get. Fingers on buzzers. What else have the nation been talking about this week?
The Glastonbury Festival, which is happening this weekend.
Yeah.
Isn't that right?
Have you been talking about it? Are you going to go, David?
No, I'm not, because I've already had sex in a tent when I was in the Sea Scouts.
Right. I'm not going on. I think I am the only person here who went to the original Glastonbury.
In 1823.
And if you vote for it, we can rebuild it.
When was that?
It was in 1971.
I was born in 1971.
Were you? Your mother didn't go to a tent in... Oh, no, never mind.
I went there last year, it's horrible. They had big beef burger things on... they were cooking about 1,000 beef burgers on steel drums. That's what it stinks of hamburgers there. It's full of idiots. I hate all
You'd have loved it, I'd have thought.
It's really muddy.
You'd be like a pig in shit surrounded by idiots.
It was horrible. I didn't like any of it.
They'd have lifted you up as one of them. Carried you around. He's our leader.
Let's see if Glastonbury is up there. Yes, this weekend is the Glastonbury Festival. During the festival, Glastonbury is transformed into a city the size of Sunderland, which, if you want to spend your weekend getting robbed and watching people piss outside, is a slightly cheaper alternative. Right, at the end of that round, I can tell you that Sean, Reese and Connie have 2 points. Jason, David and Griff have 3 points. Sean, Gock, Frankie, what have the nation been talking about?
Well, I think it has to be the transition of power, where Tony Blair has stepped down as Prime Minister and Gordon Brown has quickly gone into his shoes. I personally have done very well, incredibly well, out of Tony Blair's time, because I had the wisdom, about 10 years ago, to place a bet at Ladbrokes that his last meeting will be with Arnold Schwarzenegger, who would also be the Governor of California. And I put another bet on Brown's last meeting is with Dale Winton, who'll be the leader of Hamas.
And then Schwarzenegger sitting there, and he said, we had a wonderful fried English breakfast. Did you see that nonsense?
I did see
Well,
that.
you cannot fry steroids. So you know the man...
I watched the press conference with Brown on Wednesday, and he says, I'm going to make some changes at number 10. And I presume he means policy-wise, but I thought he should just make some changes to number 10, like getting rid of that door. It's been there years. Maybe change it into saloon style, right? Or some of those beads that they have to separate a newsagents from his house. You know those?
He should stoneclad it.
I'd like to see him slide down on a pole.
I always think Brown looks like he's just taken the head off a bear costume like that.
He's only got one eye. Well, only one of them works. If you're going to start making people in charge who've only got one eye, why not go with the legend that is Columbo? How good would he be in Prime Minister's Question Time? Just one more thing. Mr. Cameron, my wife's a great fan of yours.
I I thought it was so wrong of Tony Blair to go out and say all his problems are based on his big mouth. I mean, you don't call your wife that in public.
He's been called Bush's poodle.
I know that when they do play frisbee together. But,
Bush said, I've heard he's been called my poodle, but he's bigger than that. What, he's like a labradoodle?
Gok, you've got Gordon Brown, you've got Tony Blair. Who looks better naked?
Both mingers.
Both mingers.
But I would do Tony Blair, I have to say.
Tony, I know you got your afternoons off now.
I met him on a job once.
You met him on a job? What did you say, Gok? Are you Tony Blair?
I literally spun around and he was standing there and it was like everything went really slow and there was this big light behind him. He is sexy. He is so... Like, everyone's like, what?
He's going to be a peace envoy to the Middle East.
making that Blair. Peace envoy for the Middle East is like making Mel Gibson in charge of a Holocaust museum.
He'd certainly take an interest in the Nazi memorabilia, wouldn't he?
He might bring peace to the Middle East because he brought peace to Northern Ireland, but then he didn't bomb Belfast with uranium shells and hang Gerry Adams in a shed. That might put a bit of a dent in the Good Friday Agreement.
Well, let's have a look and see if Brown and Blair are the most talked about thing this week. Not the most talked about, but it came in second. Tony Blair handed over power to Gordon Brown. He said, "Give this to David Cameron, would you?" On Wednesday, Tony Blair finally went. At 12:30, he appeared at Prime Minister's Questions. At 1:30, he drove to his new home in Connaught Square. Then at 2:30, diagnosis murder, and 4:15, deal or no deal. Jason, Joan, Alexa, what else have the nation been talking about this week?
Oh, Spice Girls. I'm thrilled because it's the first time they've been together in years, kind of like Paris Hilton's knees, and I got very excited about that. Victoria, apparently, as she's called now. I love it when gets money. Victoria, Posh came over to our country, and she thought she was going to be so terrific, and then she found out in Beverly Hills she's fat, so she came home.
Alexa, you know your pop. How
Yeah,
old were you the first time the Spice Girls came?
11 or 12, for that first year of school. Secondary school. I didn't first go to school at 11. Weird.
Girl Power was a brilliant